Hi, kings and queens. My name is Jonna Royal, and I'm back again with another video as promised. Today, though, this video is very touchy for me. So if I cry, if I laugh, if I get a little angry, just know that this situation, this is my testimony, and it's very dear to my heart. Because when I think about where I was and where I am now, I have no choice but to give glory and honor where it is due. And just a disclaimer, this video is not for me to push my religion on anybody. It's not to say that what you believe in is wrong. I'm not here to even preach. Okay, let's put it that way. I'm just here to share the joy that God have given me in my life, where he's taken me from, and just to shed some light on that if wherever you are in your life, you can make a change as well. Don't worry about what people say or think or feel about you or what you're doing, because it's you. Whether they feel it's bad or whether they feel it's good and you need to improve. Hey, it's you, and do you. Do you. Okay, but let's get right into it. So growing up, I had a really, really dope childhood. It was about 29 grandkids. I was the middle child from my mother of three. I have an older sister and I have a little brother. On my dad's side, he had no other children other than my brother and I from my mom. Now, we grew up in Wyandotte County, Kansas City, Kansas, okay? Hence why I got on the Kansas City Chiefs. Yes, but we grew up in a home where everybody was welcome. Everybody was welcome. I'm talking about from our friends to their friends to their friends' friends to the neighborhood animals and dogs. My grandmother welcomed everybody in the house. Whether you wanted to eat, whether you needed to sleep, whether you needed prayer, whatever it was, you needed advice, you needed money. My grandmother didn't have much, but to us as children, she made it look like she had the world. Okay, she made it look like she had everything. It's amazing now that I'm an adult myself, and I'll be like, dang, adulting is really adulting. Like at the moment, like it's really adult. And back then they made it look really, really good. At least I know my grandmother did. So if you were on drugs or anything, people in and out the house, nobody was judged, and that's kind of where I get that from. And that's why I said, and I'll say it again, this is not to judge anybody. It's just to shed the light on where God has taken me from. Amen. And so I had a dope childhood. Where we're from, though, we go by blocks. We go by blocks. Most people in different states and things, they go by colors or sets or, you know what I'm saying? But we go by blocks. And I just so happened to grow up on the 30 block. That's what they called it. No, I did not live that life. I ain't about that life. But I did grow up on that block. Okay, everybody was family. You could be a kid. And I was the type of kid that was like outgoing, very athletic. I love music. I had two aunties that poured so much music into me. My family was a singing family, but they just poured so much music into me. And I remember them practicing with me on the edge of the bed, at the bottom of the stairs, in the car, honey. It didn't matter. We practiced everywhere. That was like a bonding thing because we held prayer at our house, like once a week, maybe on a Sunday. I can't really remember, but I know we had a lot of prayer, and family would come from all over, and even friends. Like I said, we call friends our family too. We'll come over and just pray, hold hands, and fellowship. And so that was instilled in us at an early age. I was quite the tomboy. When I say athletic, I was athletic. I was quite the tomboy. My mama she could not put me in a dress. She could not put me in no hairballs, no barrettes. Sis, I wasn't having it, okay? So that was it for me. I was a tomboy. And back then, the whole lesbian thing, it wasn't even it wasn't even really that deep. It wasn't that big. Nobody really, you know, paid attention to it or anything. And I was just a tomboy. I was, as a kid, right now I can say I was just free. I was living. I was free. I like to fight the dudes on the block. I like to get in the dirt. I like to ride dirt bikes, motorcycles, fast cars. I just loved everything boyish. And so that was the terminology used back then when I was growing up. And it was definitely a tomboy. Okay, that's who I was. And so the time I can remember was, I didn't know anything about being a lesbian or woman on woman. I literally had no clue. And so I could just remember vaguely going to a family member's house. And I'm not going to say any names because this is not to bash anybody or to even question anybody's parenting or watching skills or whatever, because ain't none of us equipped with what we need to know to, you know, watch kids or what we put around children. We sometimes we don't even think. We just, you know, it's harmless, whatever. We live in our life too. Excuse me, because they gotta have a life, because we gotta have a life too, type thing. So sometimes it just blankly goes out of our minds. But I do remember vaguely seeing at a family member's house these women coming in and out the house, dressed like me. Now remember, I told you I was a tomboy. At the time, that's what they called. I was a tomboy. So I saw these women dressed like me, but they were older than me. I was a kid, so at this point I'm like, oh, you know, a kid at a candy store. Oh, like these women are like me, but they kissing and touching and feeling on other women. Is that who I am? Is that me? Like, is that what I am? I remember feeling that way and looking like that, like, is that me? You know, is that who I am? And so I began to dig real deep within myself. And at that moment, something transpired. I remember going back to school, and I was about in the 6th grade, maybe 7th. And there was this girl on the bus, harmless. We were already friends. And to this day, I cannot remember her name. But I remember writing a note to this young lady and expressing myself to her. Expressing myself to her. Like, you know, I really like you. I don't know this feeling that I'm feeling, but I think this is me. And I know that a lot of people in middle school have boyfriends, and I've never had a boyfriend, and I've never even looked at boys or girls like this. But you are somebody that I want to get. And they laughed at me. She shared that note with her friends, and they laughed at me. They called me all kind of things that I had never heard. Like dyke, nasty, weird, disgusting. I even lost a friend. I lost a friend because I told you we were friends at first. I lost a friend. And then I remember sucking it up and trying it again with somebody else. Trying another letter with somebody else, because at this point now I'm getting confident. Okay, y'all already know. The word is out. This is who I am. The word is out. I never lost any of my real friends back in middle school. I never lost them. They already knew. They already knew at this point. So now I'm comfortable. I'm going to school. I'm flaunting my new clothes. And back at home, my mom's like, why do you want to dress like that? I'm getting all the static that a parent that just don't understand will give you. But I never really came out to my mom. You know, they called it coming out. I don't know what they call it now, but some people just doing it now. They don't even have to say anything. It's their life. And back then it was something, and you had to come out. And so, so that's how I came out. I was kind of pushed out the closet because of the letter that I was just not even thinking that it would even turn like that. And so I got talked about. Yeah. middle school was already pressure enough, and I got talked about. And so I remember not even telling my mom, nobody asked me. They just seen that I was dressing like that and stuff. But my older sister, on the other hand, and I'm not going to really touch on her story because that's her life, that's her story. But she was also into women. But she had boyfriends in time. I saw her with guys. And so a lot of my family, and they probably still do, they was thinking like, oh, she following her big sister's footsteps. Oh, Lord. You know, like, oh, the little sister want to be the big sister. And that's kind of how they thought it was. A lot of people was like, are you just trying to be like your sister, or what is it? And I'm thinking in my head like, no, this is me. And I always resort back to me seeing that at a family member's house, like, wow, that is really me. So the urge became stronger in me as I grew up, as I began to get on the band in middle school, make more friends, because, you know, high school and middle school is like adolescence. It's like when you learn yourself, you got so much peer pressure and you want to fit in so bad, and, you know, the latest trends, and you got to keep up with everything. So at that point in time, that was me. I was learning myself. Hey, I'm here. Everybody knows that this is it. I'm a tomboy. Everybody knows that. But do they know I'm a tomboy, or am I gay? That was it. That is what everybody started calling me. Like from elementary to middle school, it was like, oh, you're gay. Okay. You're gay. I had no idea what gay was. I didn't know what gay was. And so I'm like, okay, I'm gay. Okay, I'm gay. You know, I'm gay. And then as I resort back to music, gay. It was happy. It meant happy. And that's how I felt. Inside, I felt like I was me. I was living. I was me. And everybody knew that I did this, and they was still cool with me. Like, it wasn't nasty no more. Like, nobody was like, bashing me for being gay. And so it was a thing. Then it came out my family, and I had my girlfriend, my first girlfriend. Now I'm in high school. I had my first girlfriend in 9th grade. Yeah, I had my first girlfriend in 9th grade, and it was just on and popping. Everybody knew I was gay. Everybody knew, my family. I would bring them over to the family and everything. And then it turned. Her father did not approve of it at all. At all. He didn't approve of it at all. And at this point in my life, it was a turning point for me from being happy. Because now, somebody that I actually can flaunt and be with, I couldn't do it in public. It was so crazy. It was from the teachers. He had the teachers at schools keeping us apart. I had to walk a certain hallway. She had to walk a certain hallway. It became traumatizing, to say the least. Embarrassing. Everybody knew. Her closest friends, my closest friends, everybody knew. And it was like, had detectives taking pictures of us in black and white, as we would try to sneak off and do things. And at this point in time, my life became just a secret. I felt like I was keeping a secret. And so I was just like, nah, this ain't it. This ain't it. And as much as I did not want to break her heart at the time, that is when I began to get the spirit of lust. Lust. I began to get the spirit of lust for many different women. Okay? Many different women. They would flock to me like birds, of course. And I would just get that whole spirit. It was just a spirit upon me of lust. And I didn't look the same in my pictures. To me, in the mirror, I didn't look the same. I'm sorry, y'all. I did not look the same. To me, in my spirit, I didn't feel the same. I had become somebody completely else. somebody else. And I remember at that point in time, like, you know, I'm growing up. I'm about to graduate high school at this time. What's next for me? Is it college? What is it for me? And no, I just graduated and from high school, and I went on with my life. And of course, as anybody, that's when the term stud came out, and I was a stud. The stud, for those who don't know, is the most dominant female in the relationship and dresses up like a guy. And not that I was trying to be a guy or ever felt like I was, but I was just comfortable in those clothes, just to say the least. I was comfortable in those clothes. Just like now, I have on a loose, this shirt is so loose, but it feels good to me. And that's just how I like it. And so at that point in time, I ran into a bunch of people. I gave myself to a bunch of people. And I've always been a genuine, loyal person. So I never was one to cheat or anything, but I went through so much stuff with women to where it was like, at the age of, by the time the age of 27, I want to say, came around, I had this feeling of, you know, disgust about myself because no relationship was working. None. I would date women with kids, and they would hold them over my head when they wanted money, or when they, when I just didn't give them what they wanted. Everything was just seeming to cast me out. I began to fall in a dark place. I attempted suicide 3 times. I turned to drugs and alcohol. Yes. And I smoked cigarettes like a drain. I smoked like a drain. My teeth became yellow. I didn't care about how I looked. I was just out here. I was living in and out of my cars, crashing on friends' sofas and families' houses, and just living real rugged. Like, it was a tragic as I sit and think back on my life. And although I have an amazing family, and my family had never disowned me for the way that I was, but at a point, I say back, like I said, age 27, that's when things took a turn for me. I remember talking to about 2 women, and I wasn't in a relationship with either one of them, but I remember talking to them, and at the same time, trying to figure out which one. Y'all know how we do. Come on now. Y'all know how we trying to figure out who we want, which one, you know, who's better, you know. So I was talking to 2 people at the same time, of course, just to figure out, you know, who had my best interest at heart, who was gonna ride or die, like, you know. But so I end up choosing one. At the end of the day, I end up choosing one. Don't even know why. Don't even care. But I remember I chose one, and it just didn't feel right still with me. And I was 27. I had just turned 28. Boom, my birthday came. I had just turned 28. And I was like, yeah, this ain't working. This ain't working. We would argue all the time, but we wasn't even together. But I think I was just growing tired. And I had already heard God's voice 1,000 times over this whole little lifespan I gave y'all. 1,000 times I've heard his voice. You know, if you don't do this, then, you know, this and this. And I knew why I wasn't climbing higher in life. But for some reason, I wasn't ready. And that's another message. You have to be ready. You have to be ready. You cannot do things without being ready. God can be ready for you. Your family can be ready for you. Your friends can be ready for you. Even your children can be ready for you, or vice versa. You can be ready for your children or anything. And if they not ready, it's not going to happen. And that's what happened for me. I wasn't ready at the time. So God was tugging at me. I could feel him. I could hear him. I was being rebellious, as we all are to our parents. And he's our father. He loves us. So I was being rebellious, of course. And boom. I was just like, you know, I don't want to talk to you no more. I didn't know how to explain it. I didn't know what was up. I didn't know what was up. I didn't know how to explain it. And so I was just like, I can't do this. I remember telling my mom, I just feel like death is on me. I feel like death is around me. I don't know if you all have just been walking somewhere, you know, walking, and then you feel a shadow or you see a shadow on you. It was constantly on me. It was like a burden. And my mom was like, well, just drink some water and, you know, maybe lay down. And I'm thinking like, Mama, no, this ain't that, Mama. I feel death. I don't know what water gonna do, but I feel death, you know? And so she was just like, I don't know what else to tell you, baby. Just lay down, take a nap, sleep on it. I slept on it. Nothing. I woke up feeling the same way. This was around the time that my mom and her husband were planning a trip to Vegas. So that's what happened. And this video is now going to stop right here because I'm going to leave it at Vegas and I'm going to come back to you all. But I just didn't want to make it too long. I'm going to make a part 2, but I'm going to leave that here at Vegas. I love you all. Please tune in to part 2. This is my testimony. You're a queen, you're